Hello vinyl community, it's Andrew here once again with some more records that I found recently. I tend to get most of the records now from Discogs, but I did visit a record shop in Beverley, which is in South Yorkshire, called Minster Records, and it's definitely worth a visit if you're in the area. They have some great records in there, very good prices too, and they also have a 50p and a pound bin which I like to have a good rummage through. And I was able to find some really good records. In fact, I picked up one or two that I'd got missing from my collection, so I was really pleased with that. So no more waffling, I shall get on and show you which ones I managed to pick up. The first one I got was a Carly Simon album called No Secrets. This one's actually my favourite album from her. I used to have this on cassette years ago, never had it on vinyl before, so I was very pleased to get this one. It has some great tracks on it, like The Right Thing to Do, The Carter Family, No Secrets is on there, You're So Vain is on there, the one that everybody knows, and it's got some nice photographs of Carly on there. And this one is on the green Electra label with the butterfly on it, and that was a pound. Then I managed to pick, this one was 50p. This one is Yesterdays by Yes. It's a compilation of songs that they had on their first 3 albums, I think, and there's 1 or 2 sort of single only tracks on here as well. I did have this one on cassette as well all those years ago, and it's nice to see the album version because the artwork on the sleeve is really good. The sleeve's not in great condition, it's got this black tape along the bottom and also on this top corner here for some reason, but the record inside is in good condition. And this one's on the Atlantic label, but it's also got some nice artwork from Roger Dean on the label as well. One of my sort of favourites artists is Petula Clark. I've always liked her music, and this one was in the 50p bin as well. This one is These Are My Songs. I have this one already on the British Pie label, but this one's on the American Warner Brothers label, which I haven't got anything on the Warner Brothers 7 Arts label, so I thought I'd pick that one up as well for 50p. A band I knew nothing about at all was the Little River Band. This one's an album from 1981 called Time Exposure. I hadn't a clue what it was going to be like. I just thought the artwork on the sleeve looked nice, and I thought for a pound I'll have this. And it's really great. I really like it, and I shall definitely be looking for more Little River Band albums in the future. This one's on the Purple Capital label. If you wanted a comparison to the sound, they're a little bit like the Eagles. It's sort of countrified, sort of soft rock. I don't like to do comparisons really because they don't really sound like the Eagles, but if you wanted an idea of what the sort of music was like, then that would be a best comparison I could make. Now this one was in the 50p bin. This one isn't in great condition. It's a compilation from Island Records called You Can All Join In. It's got people like Traffic, Jethro Tull, Free, Fairport Convention, and then there's 1 or 2 groups I don't recognise like Art, Clouds, Winder K Frog is another artist on here, and presume that all these people on the front are all the artists that are actually on the album. It's in pretty good condition. It's not too bad. It's quite crackly in places, but for 50p it was definitely worth having. And this is on the pink Island label with the white eye on there. Renaissance has been a group I've really liked over the years, and this one was their last studio album called Timeline. It was quite a departure from what they'd done before. They were trying to update themselves, and you can see that from the front cover. It's very 1980s looking. Now a lot of the fans of the previous albums that they made didn't like this album at all, and I can understand why, because it's quite a departure from what they were doing before. But if you sort of forget about all the history of the group and just listen to the record as if it was a new band, it's actually not bad at all. Annie Haslam, who was the vocalist on here, she does a marvellous job on all the songs that they do. There's only one on here which I just don't understand. It's called Orient Express, and it's as if she's trying to do an impression of Toyah or Susie out of Susie and the Banshees. It's got that sort of 1980s punk type vocal on it, which just doesn't suit her at all. She's got a fantastic voice, and I don't know why they thought she would have to do that sort of vocal on that track, but the rest of the tracks on here are really, really great. This was in the 50p bin. This one was That'll Be the Day by Buddy Holly. This is a reissue from 1970 of I think it's 1958. The original album came out. Now it's got some very early stuff from Buddy Holly on here. There is the track That'll Be the Day, but it isn't the one that became the hit. It's a very much more basic version, probably the first version he made of that record. But there's some really great rock and roll tracks on here. None that I actually recognise. There's one called Blue Days, Black Nights is very good. Modern Don Juan is on here. Rock Around with Ollie V. Completely unknown tracks to me, but they are really, really good tracks. Definitely worth a listen. So if you see that one anywhere, then I would recommend you pick that one up. Then I managed to get this one. This was in a really dirty condition. This is How Do You Like It by Jerry and the Pacemakers. The cover was completely black. It looked like it got soot all over this corner here. Very, very dirty. And I looked at the album itself, and it seemed very dirty, very scratched. But it was only 50p, and I thought I'll give that a go. But I've managed to clean it up really well. The cover's a little bit tatty, and it's got a lot of age yellowing on it, but once I've cleaned the record up, it actually plays very, very well. There's no discernible scratches on it at all. There's lots of surface scratches, but they don't actually show on playback, so I was really pleased that I actually took the risk to buy that. 50p isn't really a risk anyway, but it's got some very early things from them on here, like Jambalaya, A Shot of Rhythm and Blues, Chills is on there as well, which is a great song, and also the hit You'll Never Walk Alone is on here as well. But it's a really good high energy record from them from 1963. Now the following records I paid a little bit more money for. These are mostly from Discogs. This one is by Edgar Winter, and it's called Entrance. Now Edgar Winter is quite a new artist to me. I've never really heard him before, but I did sample one or two of the songs on here, and I really, really like them. It's quite different from what I normally listen to. It's quite sort of a jazz, funk, rock sort of mishmash, really. Really, really good stuff. If anybody hasn't heard anything about Edgar Winter, I would recommend you give them a listen. I've played it twice now, and I like it. In the second time I liked it even more. So I would definitely recommend this record by Edgar Winter. This one's on the American Epic label. It's from 1970, I think it is. I'm trying to get all the records from Styx, the rock group Styx, and this is one that I hadn't seen around in any shops, but I saw it on Discogs, and this one's called Equinox. This is the first album, I believe, when they went to A&M Records, and the nice thing about this is that it's actually on sort of a gold and yellow vinyl, which is very, very nice. And this was quite a hit, I think, in America. I think there's a track called Lorelei on here, which I believe actually entered the charts in America. I hadn't heard it before. I like all Styx stuff. It's got a very unique voice, and I like all their stuff, so I was very pleased to get that. Now this is just a compilation. This is Steve Harley and Cockney Rebel, the best of. I actually have all their albums, but it was nice to get this compilation. It's got one or two singles on here that actually have never been on albums, so that was really good to have. Judy Teen is one that's never actually appeared on an album, so it was nice to get it for that alone. And this one is a compilation from the 1980s, I believe, probably 1983, but most of the songs on here are sort of 1974, 1975, and that's on the EMI record label. Now the next two are reissues, these 180-gram reissues that I managed to pick up as well. One record by Led Zeppelin I'd never owned on vinyl was the first album, which was called Led Zeppelin. I was really pleased to get this one. It's a brand new pressing on the Atlantic label, and it's got some really terrific songs on here. Really classic Led Zeppelin. To say it was the first album, it's absolutely amazing. Dazed and Confused is on here. Good Times, Bad Times is on here. Black Mountain Side is on here. A really great listen, and it was lovely to get it on a brand new vinyl. And I went into my local HMV, who are now starting to stock reissued vinyl records, and I picked up my favourite Beatles album, which is Beatles for Sale, and it's one of those that are in mono, the Beatles in mono, and they tend to be quite expensive. The only ones I've seen up to then was they were about £25–30, but for some reason this one was £12.99, so I grabbed it, and it's great to hear it in mono. I do have the stereo version, but this is great to hear it in mono, because in those days they used to have the vocals coming out of one speaker and the music coming out of the other, which it just doesn't sound right to me. So this was lovely to hear this in mono finally, and that was a great find at £12.99. Okay, well that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.